The United States Army accidentally set feral camels loose on the Wild West in the 1800s. They literally became beasts of burden, menacing the countryside. And this was also during a time when many Americans had never even heard of a camel, let alone seen one, so encounters with the hunchbacked dromedaries incited legends and horror stories. One creature, known as the Red Ghost, was described as a devilish-looking creature strapped on the back of some strange-looking beast. The Red Ghost was said to have killed multiple people and even had the power of disappearing into thin air. And the truth of this animal was actually far more disturbing than that. But let's begin at the beginning, with the United States Army's Camel Corps. The terrain and the climate of the Midwest, Pacific Crest deserts and mountain ranges, and Texas, just all of Texas. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Were nearly insurmountable for settlers, and certainly not without cost. Remember the Oregon Trail? Remember dysentery? In 1836, U.S. Army Lieutenant George H. Crossman proposed the establishment of a Camel Corps to help transport supplies. He submitted an extensive report to the War Department, advocating for the use of camels to help shoulder burdens, while requiring less food or water than horses. His report was disregarded, but not forgotten. Camel Corps, never forget. We should make that a t-shirt.
One hump or two?
Two, obviously. Inappropriate. In 1855, then Secretary of War and champion of Crossman's proposal, Senator Jefferson Davis of Mississippi, appealed to Congress again and was granted $30,000 for the, quote, purchase and importation of camels and dromedaries to be employed for military purposes, end quote. In perhaps the Navy's finest moment, the storeship USS Supply brought 34 frickin' camels to the United States. In an early test of the animal's capabilities, though, a traditional 3-wagon team, each pulled by 6 mules, was pitted against 6 camels to perform a supply run. According to ArmyHistory.org, the wagon teams, each carrying 1,800 pounds of oats, completed the trip in 5 days. The camels, however, carried 3,648 pounds of oats and made the trip in only 2 days. With several other favorable tests, it was time to become acquainted with camels. Though naturally docile, camels can get violent when mistreated, and they're strong enough to kick or stomp someone to death, which is what you get when you're mean to animals. A second import of the creatures brought the total to 75, but they would all be lost or auctioned off within the decade. But it wasn't the mission or the climate that would end the experiment. It wasn't even the fierce objections or political fallout from the mule lobby, which was a thing. God, our country is fascinating. It was the Civil War that would kill off the Camel Corps. After Texas seceded from the Union, Confederates seized Camp Verde, where the camels were stationed, and the camels were turned loose. Some were reclaimed by Union forces, some sold at auction, some met really shitty ends because humans are the worst, and I don't even want to go into details about it, and some were left to wander the wild, wild west, which brings us back to the Red Ghost. After months of sightings, one might even call them hauntings, the Red Ghost was spotted by a group of miners who took aim at the creature. Marshall Trimble, Arizona's official state historian, told the Smithsonian that when the ghost fled their gunfire, quote, something shook loose and landed on the ground, end quote. That something was a human skull. Years later, a rancher would finally kill the poor beast. The New York Sun reported that strips of raw hide were wound and twisted along the creature as if something or someone had been lashed onto the camel's back. Accounts of camel sightings continued for decades, wandering the deserts and plains of California, the Southwest, Northwest, and even as far away as British Columbia. Topsy, believed to be the last of the Army Camel Corps creatures, died in Griffith Park at the Los Angeles Zoo in 1934 at the old age of 81. Know any other stories about animals in the armed forces? Like the 440-pound bear who served in the Polish army during World War II? Let us know your favorites, and we might make a video about it next. I need them to have a happy ending. Can you guys just give me Never mind. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. You guys, please leave a comment and tell me stories with a happy ending. Thanks. Okay. I think we're done here. Camel Corps, #inappropriate. It's gold. It's gold. The shirt will spit. You can spit while wearing the shirt. I'll spit on every shirt that's ordered. I don't know, you guys. We can't go wrong. It's weird.